and just
cool.
And now we're live. Welcome.
Now we're live.
You have like a big pop filter in your face, Ray.
Oh yeah.
You don't want them to see.
Hello.
Hey Ray, how you doing, man? Welcome.
Good. Thank you for having me. Sorry for the delay, everyone.
Oh, no worries, dude. No worries. And trying to get this chat up here. Why is it not showing up? So weird. But how's everyone doing out in YouTube world?
Well, I am swell. I hope
streaming?
everybody else is swell.
We dragged Champ out of bed this morning, and
We did.
Yeah, he's awake now.
If you could call this awake, sure. Yeah, but
I was like, Champ's eyes are a little more swollen than usual this morning.
You would think that late at night my eyes would be the most swollen that they get, but realistically, no. It's right when I wake up in the morning. That is when I feel the most out of my element.
What's the earliest what time do you normally wake up at?
Me?
Yeah.
It depends on the day, you know, like it depends on if I gotta go pick my kid up. It depends on if I'm gonna go to my other job and blah, 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 blah. But honestly, I've set up a pretty sweet deal over the last year where I really don't have to wake up before noon most days. So, getting up at 8 this morning was like that was a trip, bro. I know that this is normal for most people. I know most people can just handle that, they wake up at 8, 7:30, whatever, every morning. But once you get used to the waking up at noon thing, it is real hard to go in the other direction.
Bro, you should try 4 a.m. It's a blast.
I'm still awake the previous night at 4 a.m. That would be get like 4 minutes of sleep that way.
So we need to start streaming at 3 a.m. my time for you, or like 2 a.m. Actually, that might work out. If we stream at 12 in the morning my time, that's 2 a.m. for you. You're still awake. That could work out pretty well. What about?
It's not the worst idea in the world. Although I gotta admit, like I'm at my best between the hours of like 2 p.m. and 8 p.m. Every other hour of the day, I'm pretty much kind of useless.
What about you, Ray? I know you
waking up.
Yeah, you do what I do. You drink coffee and eat ice cream right before bed. So
that's probably why I'm gaining weight. Well, I also work, and it's a mid shift, so I wake up around 10 usually. But I've always been pretty like an insomniac, being a recording artist.
Yeah,
right. We don't sleep.
Yeah.
We get that inspo at 1 a.m. and it's like, what are we gonna do?
Yes.
Just not write anything down?
Exactly.
I mean, it's that's how it goes, man. Like you don't need sleep. It's whatever.
No, don't listen to Alan here. All right, he's been trying to promote the no sleeping idea for the last year on this podcast, and I'm vehemently against it.
I mean, who needs sleep? I'm operating just fine. Well, maybe not. Some people might disagree with that.
It depends on the day, my friend. It depends on the day.
Oh man. Well, Ray, tell everyone who you are and what is going on with your band, man.
Hey, my name is Ray, and I'm from the band called One Eye Closed. We're a rock band from Tokyo, and we're signed with JPU Records, and we're still a relatively new band. And I don't know what else to say. We have an album out, Adam and Eve, and we got some interesting stuff coming out soon that I can't really say because things are getting delayed. But
that sucks, man.
Yeah, but I can hint on it later on.
I like hints.
What's delaying it right now for you guys?
We're waiting on the producer. That's it.
Gotcha.
It's kind of like, come on.
Oh, so you're blaming the producer. Got it. Calling out the producer right now.
Hurry
up. No, I was kidding.
Let's get the name. Let's get his name and address.
Okay, let's get the producer's name. Let's show up at his house. Hey,
Barrage him with hate comments.
Ray said you need to hurry up with. No, we're kidding. Ray did not say that. We're putting words in his mouth. We start problems here, Ray. We're sorry. That's what we do on the podcast.
Yet I keep coming back.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you like it.
I am. Yeah.
I think it's just one of those. Yeah, it's just one of those unnatural, like draws, like magnetic draws. I don't think it's that you actually like being here. It's just you feel compelled.
What do you call it? Stockholm syndrome?
No, we've had you on a few times, man. We met when Dichotic first started a channel, and you just started. It blew my mind how you guys got on the label, like, which is the same label as Bandmade, Nemophila, and many more that I'm missing. Who else? There's a lot. Soken Inaru, which is crazy. So I know the first thing people are going to ask is, like, have you met any of those bands yet? Or had the opportunity to meet any of those bands? I know people are going to want to know that. Oh, yeah, and we can talk about your love for hentai afterwards also. Yeah.
Love Bites, too. I just want to throw that out there.
Oh, Love Bites also, yes. Like every band.
Bites.
Scandal, Trident.
Yeah, like all the bands that we watch.
All the bands we watch are on there, including One Eye Closed, and that's why you should check out their new album. And the link should be popping up periodically in the chat to his album if you want to support them further. But
thank you. Yeah, so we haven't met a lot of bands in JPU due to them being, they've got their own thing going on, right? And their distribution is with JPU, but I think their management is still with the Japanese labels.
Oh, right. Okay.
So, but we have met a lot of artists through JPU. That one is a ROA, Relic of Ancestors. I think you guys should react to them soon.
Hell yeah. Okay.
They're like a rock band. And,
I'm actually looking at it right. I'm looking at them right now.
Yeah, they're really cool. They have shamisen players.
Oh, nice.
I love a shamisen.
Yeah, and they're good friends with Bandmade as well.
Cool. Oh, very cool.
And we have met one more band that I can't say because we are working on something together.
Oh, okay.
Shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, you just come on this podcast with all these secrets. Hey, guys, I got a lot of stuff I can't tell you today.
I thought I was going to be able to tell you today, but everything was delayed.
Well, you can definitely come back on again, man. I'm sure the other guys want to meet you too, It just didn't work out with the work schedules, but we'll definitely get you on again, man, so you can meet everybody else.
Please.
And then you can reveal your mysteries.
I gotta admit, I'm immediately curious, just because anytime like bands get together to do stuff, like in the pop scene, it's always like people feature all the time on other people's songs and stuff like that. But whenever I hear about like people in bands working together, I have no idea what that's going to mean. It could be anything. So I'm immediately curious about it.
What do you think might happen, champ? I don't know why my mind just wandered when you said that.
All-star group. We're about to see an all-star team formed, I think.
That would be sweet, man. I'd love to meet, the Kami band and Scandal and Love Bites and Bandmade, all those bands. I'd love to meet them. But I just have to say though, the bands that we've met in JPU have been really, really, really nice.
That's good. That's great to hear, honestly.
Yeah, they really take that whole senpai kohai culture to heart. Yeah, and without our senpais, I don't think we'd be here right now. Yeah,
that's awesome that everybody it's just all about helping each other out and helping each other with getting promoting. Even we see it with Bandmade and stuff, right? With their like I guess sister bands, you could kind of consider it. Like all the bands are just helping each other out if they're able to. And that's really cool to see. That's something that seems to happen more in Japan.
It doesn't seem as common over here, honestly. It feels a little bit more like competition over here, at least at that level. Where it feels like maybe in the public eye, maybe they want to say something supportive, but to me it always feels like they're trying to one up each other or whatever.
Yeah.
Obviously every case is different, but that's sort of the sentiment that I usually get from the bands over here, at least the ones that I've been around.
I've been fortunate to find a few bands here now, like through reactions actually. Like, so we're like, there's Tina from Beautiful Skeletons, and oh my God, Anastasia. I've been actually finding bands here lately, so I think hopefully the culture's changing with that. Because, and then with you, Ray, like you were mentioning, are you allowed to mention that you're? I don't know. Do you want to tell them what's going on? Wait, before I say anything, I'm like, fuck.
We'll mention that. We'll mention that another time.
Okay, gotcha. So, like,
but I also think, Alan, that it's that now that we've actually experienced how it kind of the culture works a little differently in different places, you've been going out of your way to kind of find bands that are like that over here that have that, and I think that it probably does exist in a much larger, in a more mass amount than we think. It's just that we haven't actually gone out of our way to find it. Now that you are finding it.
It could be just the Americans being lazy and not taking the effort of trying to reach out. Because I think collabs are really important. And I mean, rap and hip hop had that down since the beginning. They saw the value in it, and even some new metal bands from back in the day, like late '90s, like they had a lot of features. I remember Limp Bizkit having like Korn on their album, and Scott Weiland for a song, like, but
Method Man.
Yeah, Method Man, and then he would go and then have certain rap artists. Even Snoop Dogg was on one when they did the remix album of them. Like, they did that also, and I don't know what happened after that. All of a sudden, everyone didn't do that anymore. It was really weird.
That music disappeared. I mean, that music just doesn't exist anymore.
But even in metalcore, like now, like Ray's saying, now people are trying to feature each other and stuff like that, and I think it's helpful for everyone. It makes it interesting.
I really think that the Japanese scene here, it really depends on the band too, of course. But in the metalcore scene, everybody's really taking care of each other.
That's good.
Like backstage, give each other advice, or But I haven't really felt anything bad from the bands around us, except for maybe a few like major bands that we played with. But maybe that's just because they are up there,
yeah.
And they feel it. Yeah, they want to make sure that they get that nobody, thinks that you're on the same level right now.
So it's one of the big bands, but I was a little bit disappointed that they were like that.
Were you like a big fan of them?
I was a really big fan. I can't say the name because they're big, and a lot of your viewers really like them too.
Oh,
God
interesting.
Damn you, mystery man motherfucker.
Don't worry, Alan. After he's gone, we're gonna do the research and we're gonna do the math and we're gonna figure this out.
We're gonna figure it out. I know, like, my curiosity is just like, I'm like, God damn.
We'll run the equations through our calculator, and after he's gone, and don't worry, Ray, nobody will know that you had anything to do with it.
Ray just
I hope you never find out.
Ray dropping secrets here. No, that's cool. I mean, that's respectful not to call it out, even though it will irk my brain forever. But but no, I respect it.
I mean, it kind of reminds me though, like when we were talking to Joe, we had Joe Ciccone over on here from Fox News, and he was talking about all the people that he met, right? And he was saying that like most of them were really cool, that he interviewed and blah 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 blah. But then there was like those really top-notch ones. And who do you call out immediately? Madonna.
Oh yeah, he was calling out. Madonna was immediately calling out.
Oh, really?
He did not give a.
But it was like but he had mostly nice things to say about everybody that he had met. But then it was just like that 1%, the upper echelon that were just like really difficult to deal with.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, I see people commenting, is it Baby Metal or Bandmate? No, I've never met them. I wish I have.
That part we got. So we're dwindling it down, we're dwindling it down. Now
Well,
we
I'm
gotta
glad
ask,
it's neither of those
we
because
gotta-
those are probably like the top 2 on our channel. So yeah, I think you're
Right.
in the clear. At
I
this
think I
point.
know who it is, but I don't want to mention it either now because I think I do know who it is. Because, yeah,
It's definitely Metallica. Let's be real.
yeah, it's Metallica. Fuck, I knew it. God damn it.
When I go, they had that really nice show with Metallica a couple weeks ago that nobody knew about.
Wow. Even I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, it just popped in my head. I'm like, oh fuck. So this album, when did it release? This one that you're
Adam and Eve.
Adam and Eve.
Shoot, that was last year, I think.
This is the
Yeah.
album from last year.
It
Very
was
cool.
last year, though. A lot of those songs were old, but you know, as a band, we had a dream to release something physical, and at that point, we were just releasing singles, so we just compiled everything into one physical album.
That's a
Mhm.
smart way to do it, man. I think. Like,
Yeah, and everything was produced. I mean, the designs, everything was done by us, and it was really a project that was really close to us. We
mhm.
didn't get much help with it, and we really wanted to show a lot of the bands, like the smaller bands or those bands trying to get big, that
Mhm.
you can do it,
Yeah,
you know,
that's very
without
cool.
much money.
Mhm,
So you're
mhm.
saying with JPU Records too, like I always forget about this because they just brought in a band recently, but it's just to distribute the music, and it was the Pillows. I guess it's an
The
older
Pillows, I
Japanese
love
band.
them.
Yeah, they just brought them on. So now that you mention it, so JPU Records. So how many bands are actually signed to them and not as just only a distributor? Do you know or?
No, I don't know, but we are signed with them. It's really complicated because the Japanese record labels also really want to control everything,
Mm,
right? And so I believe some bands are shared,
gotcha.
but I'm not
Mhm,
really
mhm.
quite sure which one. And there's a
They
lot
don't-
of privacy issues there, so we can't share. And I don't
Mhm.
know.
Oh,
Yeah,
gotcha.
they don't really differentiate it either publicly. Like if like if you go to their website or whatever, it just kind of like it lists everybody as like their artist, but it doesn't say if it's just
You
it's
know-
just for
You only know when you upload the reaction. Then you know, like, oh, Pony Canyon, and then after that, because like I remember when I first looked at JPU Records, I was like, wait a second, they have to be a distributor, and I always forget about that. They're not necessarily signing labels because that is a thing that happens. It's like for me, I have Dichotic Music as a label, so I use as a distributor for a couple projects that I had in the past, or like a rap artist and a band that are on it that I help distribute, but it's technically not signed, right? So
Mhm.
so what I do is I help them distribute music while they're signed to whatever label they're under. So I always forget that that's a thing too, you know. That
I have a question about that. So how does that work then? Like if you are why wouldn't the label that they're signed to be distributing their music? Like in what case would that happen?
Good question. I think a lot of it is they don't know how to do those things abroad. You know, with a lack of English,
Mhm.
unfortunately.
Mhm.
And yeah, I really think it's a language barrier.
I could see that being the case, and that's something that you just can't really work around. So you definitely wouldn't need just a third party, you know, involved somehow, just to make it easier for that type of thing.
Yeah, because I believe JPU is always talking with like their managers and their labels, like do this, we want it this way, want it that way. And then yeah, so it's they really just don't know how.
That's crazy.
That makes a lot of sense.
I mean, because we kind of talked about, I think it was the last interview that we did, like we're talking about like helping like the smaller bands or like having singers and stuff like on projects and stuff like that. It really helps them push it out further. And being with JP Records, what do they do for you, kind of, if you're allowed to say? Like, they help you get the shows at that point, or are they act like a manager? Like, because I know here you can get a manager, but they don't really do much but get you access to the venues that you couldn't do on your own because they don't know your name. So I know that's how it operates here with labels. More when you join a label here, it's just to get access to the venues. They really don't do anything. They're just like, you're just with them so you can get through the front door. Like if I wanted to play Aftershock, for example, you would need to be on a label that has ties or connections to them. You can't just, I can't be like, oh, I'm Ellen. Let me, can I open up?
It feels much more like a middleman, right? Like like you're just like, hey, can you get me that show? And
there's some there's some bands though that have a manager in the band that works, and then that could be helpful too. Because that's why when I toured, I try to get as many numbers as I could, because the more people you meet in person and stuff, it can help out. But anyways, back to you. Like, is that how JPU Records kind of works for you guys? Just helps you get in the door to those venues or similar thing?
Right. Yeah, for us, they do a lot of things, a lot of promotion and advertisement, and helping finance like music videos and stuff.
Oh, that's good.
Like, our most popular song, Low, that was in a video game. We weren't planning to make a music video for it because that was done right before JPU, but they really wanted a music video, so they paid for it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How well is that doing? How many views has that got on it? Low. No.
Not that much. Like but for our scene, it is bigger than the other bands.
No, that's good, man. Like I was just curious.
I wouldn't even necessarily like the YouTube views are something that I wouldn't even like think about in that sense, because that game, what is it called? Straight Roads Only or something? No Straight Roads. Yeah, that game is actually really popular, and like a lot of people, it's overwhelmingly positive reception to it, but mostly because of the soundtrack. And that's like everybody loves that game because of the soundtrack, not necessarily because of the game, but because of the soundtrack. And you guys did 2 songs for it, right? You did one for the like extended edition or something.
Yes, we released our song All of Us, and then they wanted it for the encore edition.
That's it, encore edition. That's my favorite song by you guys, by the way.
Yeah, so that could be. I wonder how that works, like, because you don't know how many people just listen from just the game itself, So a lot of people will download.
I have a feeling that soundtrack does better than the game when it comes to actual sales. Like when you go over to Steam and you look at it and you see that they have like these combo sales, where you can get the soundtrack with it or whatever. It's like 90% of the comments are just like, the soundtrack is fucking awesome. I just want the soundtrack.
Yeah, the producers are top notch. Like James Landino, who's a huge like electronic music producer, and he's also I think he's American, but he's also signed in Japan.
Oh wow!
And they had Nikki Simmons, who's from the UK, but very powerful vocalist, and they had the Love Bites guitarist work on the soundtrack also.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, she was part of it too. Yeah, I didn't know that either until later on.
Why does the name Nikki Simmons sound so familiar? From
we collaborated with her in our song Never
That's right.
Forget, but she's also like she was very big in the rock scene. I think she still is, and she's a voice actress now.
Oh, so she's not doing music anymore, or?
She still is. Yeah, she's doing both.
Doing both. Ah, okay. That's right.
Jack of all trades.
It was a song that we just reacted to. Hey,
you
should do voice acting, right? There you go.
Voice acting for me? I can't do that.
I would love to try that though. That seems like so much fun to me.
It does sound fun. I'm not a good actor though. I don't know how I could change my voice.
Have you ever tried being an actor? Because I feel like a lot of see, that's the thing. I feel like a lot of people would just say I'm not a good actor, but like how many of us have actually like gone out of our way to actually attempt that? Probably like less than 1% of the people out there have actually tried acting, right? Maybe we would be fantastic, right? Maybe you'd be the next George Clooney.
Me? That'd be cool though, like a Gaijin Guys animated series.
Let's
Oh
do
my
it.
god, I would love that. The amount of work that we got to find some people that want to animate for free. Where you at, guys? Good, hey, commenters, you want to spend hours and hours making an animation for us?
Teresa said you could be a voice actor for a hentai, Ray.
Oh god. That would be awesome.
Can you imagine like doing voice acting for a hentai? Like, how that go down?
You could be the tentacle monster.
I'd quit when I close immediately. I found my dream
Got
job.
a new
guys.
dream.
Go chase that dream job, Ray. Wait. That's
I think many of us would share that dream.
Thank you.
The internet would lose their mind if like I feel like 50% of the internet would take that job if it was an option for them.
Ray's gonna get a call now. Watch, you're gonna call now. You know, somebody's gonna be checking out the Skydration Guys episode. Some hentai producer, and be like, you know what? His voice is perfect.
Perfect for what?
He really sounds like a tentacle monster that we were going to put right next to Cat Lady.
We always wanted to add this crab to our hentai. This guy's
I don't know if it would be a compliment or an insult.
Hey, that's when you just say if the price is right.
That's true.
How much would it take, Ray? How much money would it take to join a hentai production?
Wow. If it would give me like 60K a year, that'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, I would do that too. I think.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
All
I might
right.
drop it down to 40, honestly.
All right. All right. All right. Well, you guys heard it. You know, if you want Champ 40K, Ray 60K a year. That's what they
Alan,
want for a base
what's your
salary.
secret number, Alan?
I don't know. I'll probably go with
I feel
you, Champ. I think 40 is pretty good. I
gotta be honest,
I'll go
Alan,
in the middle.
I've gotten to know you pretty well this year, and I'm pretty sure you'd do that shit for free.
Yeah, I would agree.
I don't know what I do for free.
You've always got a project, man, and you're just ready to just do whatever. You're just like, I'll do it, sure, I'll try it. Why the fuck not? Somebody would approach you with this shit, you'd be like, yeah, I got time. I know I didn't sleep for the last 92 hours, but you know, I got an extra 4.
You know, as long as I get the hour in, I'm good. Like, I can run for at least 4 hours off an hour of sleep. You know.
Dang, I can't do that, man.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Our last show, I bombed so hard just because I was so sleepy.
Oh,
Yeah.
I hate when that happens, dude. When you're so tired and you still got to get on stage and you're like, oh my God, bro, I'm just trying to like keep my head, like you're like a baby that's like, your head is just like waggling around.
Yeah. Oh man, like I just got out of a full-time shift at that point too, and I had to run all the way to Tokyo, and then get changed in the bathroom, from my suit.
damn.
And then it was horrible. I would not recommend it.
Oh wow.
My
See,
voice wouldn't come out.
I'm one of those people that you're right. When you're tired, your voice is fucked. Like, so that's one thing. Like me starting vocals now, it's like now I have to pay attention to the sleep, like you're saying, because it'll be all fucked up. But before shows, it always happened. Eric would be like, I don't know how you do it. Oh, welcome, Eric, too. I saw you in the chat. I would do this thing where I'd be super sick before the show and just dead tired, and I would be like, everyone would be like, dude, you're gonna make it? Like, we're gonna like, are you gonna make it on there? And then like the very last minute, just like I just kick in the energy. I'm like, whoa! Like on stage, like right afterwards, dead.
It's the adrenaline.
The adrenaline.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say the adrenaline plus those 2 shots of tequila.
Yeah, that definitely helps. Yeah, dude, I was sick once at like a big show. We opened for this band called Given by the Flames. Have you guys listened to them?
No.
I don't think so.
Okay, maybe your viewers might know them, but I just remember like I thought it was good, and then I caught a fever, and this was before the Corona pandemic. And I just know from that scene, that area, everybody's image of Ray is just in the back, behind the scenes, behind backstage, just with an ice pack. And they're like, man, are you all right? Everybody was saying.
They're probably like, did you fall down? Like, what happened to this guy?
Yeah.
When you're,
but I still did it.
When you're tired like that, what do you do differently with your voice? Do you like still do a good warm up before you go on stage, or?
Yeah, I always try to do warm ups. And I have this weird technique where I get a towel and I muffle my mouth. And so I can sing louder. You know, it helps push volume. Also, yeah, and also you don't want your vocal warm-ups to be heard when the band playing right now suddenly goes quiet, right?
Yeah, definitely. That's also true. that would be an embarrassing moment.
Yeah, imagine that. Yeah, like
yeah, they get that break. they hit that break in the middle of their chorus, you know, right before the last one comes in, and you just hear in the back.
That's a good idea, though. That's not bad. I mean, I just go out to my car and do it in the car, but that's a pretty good idea.
Yeah, just muffle your, put a t-shirt or something.
I'm gonna do that from now on. That's a really good idea. Never thought about that.
Recently, we really need like ear monitors, and we haven't had the funds to get it, or we just haven't got one.
Yeah.
But yeah, that definitely also messes up the shows too. You know, like we played a really, not really, but pretty big venue in Shinjuku in Tokyo, and without ear monitors, and I think that was also a mistake. Yeah.
So what were you actually hearing? They had the monitors in front of the stage that were just playing back for you?
Yeah, they were floor monitors, but you can definitely, when the snare is hit, you can hear it like a half a second later from the back.
Oh, I hate that. Oh my God.
Yeah.
We were talking about this a few weeks ago, actually, and it was just the worst feeling knowing that you're a half second behind what you're hearing.
Yes. So I think ear monitors will help any band, I think.
Like I mentioned to everyone, we have wireless. I remember having a wireless, but I have in-ear monitors, and I remember like walking away from the stage far and far, trying to do crowd interaction. And that was the most mind fuckery I've ever went through, where I was like, I was like, what is going on right now? Nothing is making sense. Nothing is lining up. So you're just completely off. So you're like running back to the stage because you're like fucking up like crazy.
Wait a minute. So you were walking away from the stage. So you didn't have in-ear monitors, but you also couldn't hear the stage monitors because you walked away from the stage.
Yeah.
So you were actually just hearing the live music.
I thought it was a good idea to like go outside with my wireless, showing off the wireless. I was like 22, I think. I was like, it's badass. I'm outside like trying to get people in. And then like later after the show, they're like, bro, that sounded like shit. I was like, whoops.
There was this one show that we played, and I did not have a wireless connection to my guitar, but I had one of those really fucking long, those like 30-foot long wires. So I had one of those, and I was in the same boat as you, Alan. I was just like, I want to explore a little bit during this show, right? And like, I want to see what I could do with this thing, right? And I thought the whole time that it sounded great. This is legitimate too, and like, how like it was a pretty small show that we were playing at. There was probably only like 40 people there or something like that, right? And like 5 of them were my friends. Like I invited my friends and they were there, and one of my friends afterwards was like, it didn't sound that great, man. I was like, really? What was wrong with it? It sounded great to me. And we actually had it recorded, and my guitar in particular was after every other guitar by like half a second. Like I was switching it to the next part like half a second too late. Like every bar, and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe nobody said anything during the show. Like we just never do. Songs. No, nobody ever says anything. Yeah, it sounds fucking great until the end of the show, and they're like, okay, but also it didn't sound that great. I was like,
Ray, it
was definitely all my fault too. That's like, shit, damn, like that is my guitar. That's the one that's messing up right now.
Ray, you ever have the
No.
thing happen where like you get done with the show and they're like, we could barely hear you. Oh, thanks for saying something.
Yeah, dude, that was at the last show too. Like, luckily they couldn't hear me that well because I was singing terribly. Yeah.
Sometimes it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Oh, good. We can hear you.
Because it was like a venue known for really heavy bands. Like, do you know Anti-Knock? Anti-Knock?
No.
Anti-Knock. That's where like Hanabiye plays a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, so those kind of bands, and I'm singing clean. So if they're shouting and you can't really hear them either, and I'm singing clean, you can't hear me at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate playing venues when you have so much natural reverb in the actual venue. That is a nightmare. Actually, the last place we played, because if you're playing with guitarists that like to feel that they're not being heard, they like keep turning up, and it just gets fucking ridiculous because it's so loud and everything's already bouncing off the walls, and then it just makes the vocals really disappear.
Yeah. Man, that I mean, it's all part of it, right? You grow from it.
It's true. Learning how to work with these the flaws that are provided to you. That's
Right.
part of how good you are, right?
Eric wants to know: Have you ever thought you played the worst show of your life, and then people tell you it's the best show you've ever played? That's so true. People fucking do that shit
Yeah.
all the time.
But that's because they're drinking, right?
Yeah, they were gonna enjoy that shit no matter what.
Yeah, exactly.
Eric does that to me sometimes. I'll be like, "Fuck, man, those vocals are horrible." They're like, "Nah, man, you actually sounded really good." I'm like, "What? Really?"
Yeah, man. But sometimes I don't know if they're being nice to.
No, I think
That's
some of
always
them
the
believe
question,
it.
right? That's always the question.
I think-
I feel like, I don't know, maybe that's just an insecurity on my part.
Yeah.
But like every
Yeah,
time I've
sure.
ever gotten off stage, when people are like, "Hey, man, great show," I'm like, "But was it? Like, do you really believe that, or do you just want to pat me on the back right now?"
Oh, this is a good
I
one.
can never tell.
How about that question in reverse? Have you ever thought you played the best show of your life, and then people tell you it was the worst show you ever played? Yes.
Not with one eye closed.
That's
Yeah.
happened to me.
With previous band.
Yeah, what
I have
happened?
one, man.
Tell us the story.
Like, I used to play in a band where I played guitar also and sang.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of leads in our songs, and I'm also the lead guitarist and lead vocalist. And there's a video of me out there. I'm not gonna say the band name because I don't want you guys.
Oh
to
no,
find
let's
it.
find it. No, let's show
No.
it.
No,
You gotta give us something, Ray. Some secret you gotta let out here. Just kidding. I'm kidding. Keep going.
I'll sell some later. But what I did was I was really like soloing really hard, and I was really into it. But then I noticed like at the end of our last song that my guitar volume knob was down.
Oh my god!
Oh
Yeah,
shit.
and no one said not all the way down, but it was like at 2.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
so you can't really hear the distortion. It's just clean coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Oh man, I don't know if I've ever had that happen. But I mean, I will say this: there's worse things, right? Like you don't want to not be heard, but it would be worse if you were like out of tune and everybody could hear you. You know what I mean? 'Cause
Yeah.
that's happened to me where I'm like, oh shit, one of my strings was out of tune. I don't know what happened between song 3 and 4, but something went out of tune, and I'm like, hectically trying to figure out what's going on in the middle of the song, and I'm like, oh no, should I just move down a fret and try to play it from that position now? like what do I do?
Luckily for me, that like the tuning part easily noticed, but what I did to solve the volume thing is if I saw a friend out there, I'd be like, "Hey man, just go like this or like this while I'm playing." If you if you think it's like that, because I remember having those issues where they would be like saying the same thing, like it's too low or whatnot afterwards. So after that, I just learned my lesson. I'm like, man, if I have a friend out to the crowd, I'd be like, "Hey man, if you hear it go too low, can you like go like this or something?"
But once that happens, it's like the equivalent of like checking if your zipper's open now, right? You're always fiddling with the volume knob.
It's true. Now it's on your mind forever. The one day
Yeah.
it has to happen one time, and then it's like Alan. The first thing they said where he was like, I can't stop thinking about it now. It's like that's
Yeah.
what happens.
Champ,
You
it's
always
funny
have
you
to
were talking
fiddle.
about the tuning thing because that's something that Eric is like traumatized by in Dicodic. So he fucking tunes in between every single song. And we're all like, do that thing. Like, I had to actually tell him, like, dude, you can't do that anymore. Like, get your guitar set up, motherfucker, so we can go through the songs and have the flow. But he was like tormented by that exact thing because he did what Champ did. He like played the entire song out of tune, and he was like, "Fuck!" I don't even know how he continued to play it. Like it was fucking hilarious.
You got to try to do the math, right? You're like, oh fuck, okay, I can tell this is a little flat. I guess I'm moving up one fret and trying to play everything from there.
Yeah,
But
I don't
then
know how he can ignore
That,
that.
that only really helps if the whole lead is on that one string. Because the second you got to go to another string, you're screwed again.
That's what I would do. I would just improv after that. If I'm out of tune, I'd be like, all right, find the sweet spot, and then I just start improving like in the middle of the song.
Yeah,
Or you
been
just
there
bend
before, too.
every string now.
Yes.
I
No,
do
no,
it.
that works.
Bend everything.
Oh, that works.
Yeah.
I remember I think it was with this was with Eric too. He's like I told everybody afterwards, I'm like, I was missing a string. The entire show, like the low E just went off. I'm like, all right, transcribing everything into A string. Like on the spot, and then the G string went out of tune because the E popped off, so it's one of the tremolo
Yeah.
ones, so it was all fucked up. I haven't broken a string in years, but when that happened, I remember like trying to improv around it and just go, and everyone's like, oh, we played that song the best. I'm like, guys, I was missing a string the entire time.
Oh god.
Did you really, Alan, did you really try, if you're missing the E string, would you really try to go transcribe it to the A string, or would you
I
just
did
sit
it.
on the, why wouldn't you just go to the high E string then and just play, at least
Because
you know
they
where
were
all the
chugging
notes are
chords.
at that
They were
point.
chugging chords, so I immediately.
Chords, you can't.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm not gonna.
I want to hear
imagine-
you palm mute. I want to hear you palm muting on the E string, man. Come on, let's
Right?
get that high E.
we did that once as a joke, and when I closed, like, 'cause, like all the bands around us always play like these heavy, mean breakdowns. You're like, One Eye Closed never does breakdowns, so we did do it, but they were all past the 12th fret, so all you hear is just chug.
Oh man, we gotta make a song like that now. It's just like
kind of
muted high E string.
I feel like that's the type of shit I would totally get into. Because I'd be like, dude, nobody fucking does this. This is awesome.
Ryan says when the band adds a song at the end, but you forgot you were in drop D for the last one. Oh man.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
I'm guilty of this, man. Like we have all of our songs in D standard, but then there's like one song we need the 7th string for, right? Because we haven't included the new songs. And like Eric's like, you really got to put that 7th string one in the middle of the set because he has to tune his guitar. I don't. I just switch guitars.
Yeah.
And then, like I always wonder, since he tunes every song, he never fucks that up. But that'd be playing that other tuning.
In the last band that I was in, so I hate those tuning issues too, and I'm just like Eric, where I would just like I just obsessively make sure that everything was right after that one time that it fucked up.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
So so eventually, you know how like, you know, a lot of the times, like if you have the money, at least you'll have more than one guitar on stage, you know, that you could, that are in different tunings. You pick up a different guitar, so you don't have to retune or whatever for the other song. By the end of the time that I was in my last band, I had 3 guitars on stage with me, and they were all tuned to the exact same tuning, just so I could switch off and not have to worry about the tuning and know that it's tuned again, and that I didn't mess anything up throughout the course of the show. So I just go, 3 songs, put this guitar down, even though there's nothing wrong with that guitar, and then just pick up the next one that's in the exact same tuning and keep going.
I know that though. I feel that.
Eric says,
right?
I remember I knocked off one of your strings and you just jumped off the stage and left me the fuck up the entire song by myself. It was funny though. What time are you talking about? Normally I just improv after that. It must have been really bad. You must have really knocked off. Oh, you know what? I know what he's talking about. I think it was like where every single string just went out or something. That has to be the time he's talking about. Yeah.
Gear, right?
Yeah, and then Eric fucks up worse if like there's a drastic change in the music, so then he's really going off the rails. He's like, something's not quite the same.
It's hard. It's so much harder for the drummer, though. You know what I mean? Like, if something feels different and the drummer is trying to keep it up, but then they have to try to like, adjust what they're playing to what the rest of the band is, just because they hear something different on a guitar or something like that. But the bass might still be in the way that it was originally, or the second guitar might still be in the way that it was originally. So the drums have to like really, it's rough if they can't hear exactly what's going on.
Yeah, right. I think the time,
especially in those smaller venues, where the drums are really loud and it's like hard to hear the other instruments.
Yeah, it's funny when you play a show and you drown out the drummer. The guitars put up their guitar way too fucking loud. I
don't think I've ever had that happen before. Honestly, it's like really always the drums that are too loud.
Heavy reverb. Like when you have heavy reverb going on in the venue, that can happen very easily where you're like, you can't. I think it was one of the bigger shows I played, and I remember being like, I can't fucking hear the snare drum. Like, this is wild. Really? It was wild. Wow. It was like, but it's like a festival, it's open space. Like it's, and if you're too far, like this, I remember stage just being giant. I think I was stage right all the way, and it's like, I can barely, and that's where the in-ear monitors really come and play, because when you have like tons of people out in front of you, everyone's yelling or talking or whatever, and then you can't hear shit. I remember only hearing like, I asked him to put the rest of the stuff in the monitor, and I think he literally only gave me the left guitar, and I was like, this is horrible. That was crazy. I can try to remember the name of the festival we did, and of course this is the one where we, like at the time it was like really big deal. We opened for POD, and I was like, this is fucking crazy, and I couldn't hear shit the entire time. But I didn't know what in-ear monitors was at the time. I was so young. It was like 19 or something like that. Balloon Fest. Thanks, Eric. Yeah, it's called Balloon Fest. And I was like, wow, this sucks. I still have videos online.
Japan, once you guys play in Japan, you'll be so surprised at how well they really sound check everything.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, tell everyone about that, because this is wild. And I know for any musicians listening, they're going to be like blown away by this, especially if you're a musician in the U.S. and touring and playing in a band here. So what do they do for sound check?
So if people don't know here, I before I came to Japan, I was living in California, and I played music there. And, in America, those shows are kind of DIY, right? Especially if you're in an unsigned band, a local band. So you bring all the gear with you, and sometimes you have to sound check yourself, right?
Yeah.
And I remember my first show with One Eye Closed. I was so like touched emotionally that people were there on stage asking like, "Oh, can I get your cable? Oh, let's wrap it up. Let's tape up your microphone." And then, and they carry stuff for you. I didn't have to do anything.
Wow, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
They care what it sounds like. They care
really
if you're comfortable.
Care.
That's pretty sad when Champ and I are just like, what? They care?
Yeah, that's exactly what I said to my bandmates. Like, oh my God, they care here.
Yeah, dude, that's crazy.
Yeah.
This sounds like a mythical, like a place that doesn't exist right now.
Yeah,
I don't know where you're living.
What are you talking about?
Sounds like heaven, but
right,
dude. Yeah, and we were like nobodies at that time, and they still took care of us.
Yeah,
like very well. And we had no songs out. We had no recordings out at that point.
Wow.
Yeah. And
I mean, this is how they should be, though, right? Because like they should want, especially if this is like their venue, they should want the bands to sound good. If they want to bring people back,
right?
They should be on it should be a team effort, right? Like you guys working together.
That's what I don't understand about here. Why would you want the bands to sound like shit? Like, it doesn't make sense. This is your bar. You're trying to make sales. Do you want the band to be horrible so they leave? I don't know. It's like, it's weird.
It's kind of like a pride thing, I think, right?
Yeah.
Like, have you seen that music meme where you're like, you live long enough to see yourself become the irritated stage monitor engineer.
No, but
You
I
just
can.
want all, yeah, you just want all the other bands to not be successful like you. You know, I think it's like a pride thing.
It probably is part of that, man. I used to play at this one club called Dingbats over here in Jersey, quite a bit. And we probably played there like, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 times, something like that, right? It was like our main place to go. And even though we were there like all the time, we would bring in like, a decent chunk of people, and there would be other nights where nobody was in there at all. They would not, we would still be doing, they'd had one sound guy, right? And you would be trying to explain to him, hey man, like, so like we need to turn this guitar up a little bit, and this second mic, it's not on right now, right? He's like, okay, turns up one of the guitars, doesn't turn up the other mic, starts talking to somebody else, and halfway through the first song, we're like, why isn't this mic working, man? And he's like, well, you should have said something. Bro, bro, you should want this to sound good too, man. This is your job.
Yeah, those people just don't care anymore, right? But if you guys really come here and play, has Ray ever played Eggman? Yes, we've played. That's a venue in Shibuya. And this is our new like home venue. Can I just say Eggman staff are the nicest people I've ever met.
Oh,
like,
wow.
I was going through a lot of like issues, and the first thing the owner did was hug me. And Japanese people don't hug, you know? Yeah. And that was like, I was just so touched. And that's how I know, Eggman, these people, whatever the music venue staff, really do care about the local bands.
That's really cool, man.
Yeah, he just hugged me. He didn't even say anything. He just went up and hugged.
Wow.
Yeah.
He just saw you were stressing out and stuff, or
yeah. And he was just like, hey man, whatever you need. And Eggman is owned by Man with a Mission and owned by Man with a Mission.
Oh wow.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, but I think they have another, like a manager that's not, I don't think it's him. I don't know. We don't see their faces, right?
Yeah, it's probably somebody that they hired, maybe to run the day or something like that.
Yeah. But if you guys ever come out, I really, really, really recommend Eggman.
A lot of people in our comments have been talking about Eggman recently. I think probably because Bandmate played there, and they all think it's awesome.
Eggman, I think, is like one of the legendary venues in Shibuya, and we really played a lot of good shows there. We played a show for Bandai Namco, the video
nice.
company there. And
this is a stage right here, right? Does this look right?
Yeah. They're so nice.
Can you tell us a little bit about how you got involved in the video game aspect of this? Did they contact you, the video game companies, or did you reach out to them?
That's a good question. While it was still in development, I saw just a random promoted post on Facebook. I guess it's like those suggested feeds to you. And at that time I was really into indie games, and I just saw the premise of No Straight Roads, like local rock band can't get signed. Fighting the major industry out. And I messaged them. I was like, hey, I really understand that message.
I can relate to this game's concept.
I can really relate, because we have auditioned before for like major labels, and it's weird. It's like very American Idol-esque the way they do it in Japan.
Yeah, like a competition show.
Yeah, how do they do that?
Not really a show, but so we signed up just for fun. We only had 2 songs out, right? We were still new, and we passed through, and we went to the place, and they put like numbers on you, and basically we lost to these 2 artists who can't really play instruments but look good. Yeah. Yeah, and they really couldn't play. The drummer could just go, you know,
Oh wow.
yeah, with a bunch of pre-made soundtracks made by other artists,
Ugh.
and they looked really good, and they made it through. And from that, we were really bitter, you know.
I would be too.
Yeah, so we told that story to No Straight Roads, and it's the same thing. The local band in the game didn't make it through.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they weren't a pop group like
Hey,
that.
hey, Alan, have
Gotcha.
you heard the concept of this game at all before today?
No, I haven't. No.
Okay, I just want to tell you what the synopsis says real quick.
What's the game
because
called again?
No Straight Roads.
Let me pull up
It-
photos of it.
I love what they have written as like the synopsis for the game. It says explore. Oh shoot, I just lost it. Here we go. Explore Vinyl City and fight musical megastars on your journey to defeat oppressive EDM empire as a duo rock band. And as I read
What?
that, I was like, this is the fucking game of my dreams, bro.
I love
Yeah, I
that the
love that
publisher's
premise.
called Sold Out.
That's true. I don't know if that was intentional.
I don't know. Yeah, that's it had to maybe. This is cool. So this is that's crazy.
The producer of this, or the owner of this game, was also a game designer for Final Fantasy.
Oh, nice.
Oh
I,
shit.
I think I really like this company because the guy is Malaysian, and he went back
Mhm.
home to Malaysia to make his own company and really support like the local artists there and release a game. Even
Yeah.
though like the game has its issues too, but the way like the people who made it, I really respect, right?
Mhm. You can tell that care and love is put into it, like
Yeah.
that always matters to me. It's not just like this, it's not just a money grab, it's not just a cash grab. Obviously they had
yeah.
a story that they wanted to tell, and obviously it
Mhm.
came from, like you said, the Malaysian guy, the Malaysians, they're a Malaysian development company, and that
Yeah.
to me is just like, they want to share this shit, and they like I said, they got a story they wanted to tell.
Yeah.
hmm And we really resonated with that. And really thanks to this game, we started taking off from there. And that's how we got connected with JPU Records too.
Oh really? That's
And
fucking badass, man.
and that's how we started getting recognized by the other bands around us. Like, oh, what's this band that only had 2 songs out and they can do this?
Mhm.
You know?
Hey, it's crazy
And
how
you-
like all that comes together, right? Like that's why I tell everyone just go out and do things. You never know what could happen. Every interaction could lead to something. You never know.
Yeah.
That, yeah. Because you reached out, man. Like you reached out, you made that happen. So like all of this, like, all of these, the domino effect afterwards is because you initially were like, yo, this is something I want to be a part of. And you actually did the legwork to actually make that happen. And now it's like, wow, sick.
Yeah. I really think that if you want it, you have to you have to message 1,000 people to get one response.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
And when I closed, we were just kind of a hobby band, and but I know I had that dream of breaking out into video games or anime. So I just message a bunch of people as much as I can, and thankfully this game did come back to us.
And
Yeah.
that's really I mean, you're saying with that, it is so true because I remember doing that when I was first starting YouTube, when I was trying to get like the first 1,000 subs on Dicodic. This is when we first started the band, and I remember messaging every single person on Facebook, like starting a conversation, and it led to me getting into the studio and actually recording bands and recording folk instruments, and like that's how I got into studio stuff. I remember they were like, hey, did you mix this song? Because I was mixing on GarageBand. They're like, yeah.
Mhm.
And they're like, oh, cool. So do you know how to record? I just said yes. I was totally lying. I was like, yeah, absolutely. Like, oh, come in. And I came in and did test recording. They're like, dude, this is better than what we've gotten in the past. And then I got into, it was River Moon Records, and then started working out of the studio. So, and that was from like doing what you said, just messaging. I didn't know it was going to turn to a studio thing. I was just trying to promote that codec. And he ended up going, I really like the mix to this song. Come in. And I was like, holy fuck. Like, I didn't see that coming.
Wait, is this why you talk about the mix every time that we have a podcast?
No. Did I just slip in the mix again?
This is your origin story, Alan. This is where it all came from.
Andrew White says, good morning, guys. Great chat. Ray, keep up the good work. I love the Distance EP. He does writing for J-Rock News. We did a really cool interview with him. It was very good
been
interview.
A big supporter since the beginning. He's always commenting in our videos, and I can never forget Andrew White.
Yeah. I got to meet him in person at the
man.
Nemaphila concert. It was awesome.
Yeah, thank you. That EP Distance is also really personal for us because we wrote everything during the pandemic. And I really made it everything. You can't see because of the virtual background, but I recorded everything here.
Yeah.
In that EP, and we collaborated with a lot of artists. You know, I think the pandemic had a lot of negative impact, but because of the pandemic, we can do things like this, like Zoom, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really promoted a lot of like online work. I think without the pandemic, Champ and Alan wouldn't be talking right now, right?
That's
probably
true.
Very accurate.
Yeah.
It's so weird how that works, man. But it's so true. Like we were living by our own limitations that we had set upon ourselves just by how like society had worked up until that point. And the pandemic forced us into situations where we had to try to find other ways. And now I think we've realized that like we can, and we don't have to go back to the limitations that we had before then. So now there are things that are opening up more to us, especially like across the world. You know what I mean? Like now I feel more connected to the other side of the world now than I ever did before, you know, after the pandemic. And I also think that, and you probably felt this yourself, right? That like during the pandemic, you know, emotions were high, you know, and a lot of people were struggling and stuff like that. So it does, it's almost awful to say, but it does provide a certain sense of inspiration for the writing process. Also, just the things that you're thinking about are things that you had never probably thought about before.
Yeah, definitely.
The wild thing is that none of us here have met in person yet. We've known each other for almost over a year. It's which is kind of wild. Well, Ray, it's 2 years, man. I've known you for. Yeah. That's crazy.
That's why you know, unfortunately the pandemic happened, but we wouldn't be talking right now if it wasn't for it.
Exactly.
And I think the same thing for our last EP. You know, it sucked having to record everything, you know, in my room. But now, because we did this, you know, I don't have to go to a studio.
Yeah, you don't.
To record. Right. And so, we were able to work with Rise Records band Issues, AJ, for our song. Nikki Simmons also for our song Never Forget. And well, I can say it now. One of the secrets.
Okay.
All right.
Woo!
It's okay.
No, we don't want to hear it anymore. We're no.
Okay.
Yeah, no. Fuck that. No, I was kidding. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead, man. Oh yeah, that's right. You're our first interview, Ray. Eric just reminded me. Yeah, you're the first person we ever interviewed.
Oh, seriously?
On Dichotic Channel. Yeah, you're the very first interview. I completely forgot about that.
I'm honored.
All right, back to your secret. Sorry.
Yeah, but because of JPU, because of the pandemic, because of our efforts, you know, a lot of bands disbanded during the pandemic.
Yes.
Right? And thankfully, our bandmates were quite good with PCs, you know, so we could do these things remotely.
Yeah.
You know, and we don't need to go to a producer's home or whatever. So we were able to bust out these things, and thankfully for these, we were able to meet a lot of cool bands. And I'll say it now. We met up with a band called Back On, who's also a JPU artist. Yeah, they're known for like a lot of anime songs.
Okay.
And they're kind of like I guess I would call them very close to Linkin Park.
Oh, too. I'm interested.
Back On called if a song I recommend is called Chain.
Is this them right here?
Yeah.
All right, awesome.
Now they're known for the Gundam series.
Oh shit.
Oh wow, okay. They did OSTs?
Yeah, they did that. They did Fairy Tale, the Tales of video game series, a lot.
Oh, really? They did the Tales series too?
Yeah, they did.
Wow.
One of the songs, I think. Yeah.
Cool.
And some drama series songs. Yeah, this is them. And I'm gonna tie this up with, just messaging people, right? Because ever since this band joined JPU, I shot them a message like, hey, we're in JPU too, but I don't know if you're gonna read this because you guys are pretty big.
Yeah.
Right. And but I just wanted to tell you, I grew up listening to your music because I love Linkin Park. I love that sound.
I want
saw
to check
you guys
them out
live
now.
in California. And the guy Tita, the rapper in this group, replied back.
Oh wow.
And yeah, he replied back and he said, hey man, I like your music, yeah, let's do something. And I pushed it even further, and well, long story short, we have a song with them, and a music video featuring Tita. And I'm gonna shout out Tita right now. He is the top-notch senpai. Yeah,
guiding you through.
Yes, and he was so nice. We recorded a music video together, and we thought that would be it, right? He did his shot and he'd go.
Yeah.
Right. Usually that's how it is because they have tight schedules. And previously from the shoot, I invited him. Do you guys want to go drink? And he said, I don't think I can. Oh, okay. I just thought I'd ask. But then after the shoot ended, he was like, yeah, fuck it. Let's go drink.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
You know that the shoot went well when that happened.
Yeah. He really enjoyed it too, I think. And well, we went out and drank, and he really, really took the whole senpai kohai relationship seriously. And he's introduced us to Japanese bands. Flow. Do you know Flow?
Yeah,
I know Flow. Yeah,
talked about them recently.
Yeah, Flow. Rookies is Punked.
Oh wow!
Is a band that did a lot of anime songs too, and Jesse McFadden from the band Rise or The Bones, like the rock star. Rise, R-I-Z-E.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I'm just saying, I don't know why I'm saying all this, but I guess my message is
no, you're good, man.
Anybody can do this, I think, if you just keep messaging people. And everything happened here with just a DM.
I agree.
That is crazy, man. It is crazy. What did Wayne Gretzky say? It was you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take, right? It's like you gotta try. If you're not gonna go out of your way to try, then it's a waste to do it, right?
I mean, I've always said this. Like, it baffles me that people don't try, right, or like send that message. But like as I got older, I can see how it takes up the headspace, and some people are just like, they just don't do it for some reason. I don't know what it is. It just like I've known a lot of people just being in the management business of like managing people and stuff, and they just don't do it. And I've never understood it, but it's just I think it's
fear of rejection.
Yeah, fear of the rejection. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same reason that, like, I didn't ask out any of the girls that I had crushes on in middle school. It's
Yeah.
like, I know that I'm not going to get a girlfriend if I don't ask anybody out, but still, that fear that they might say no was like crippling. So I just wouldn't do it.
Gotcha. Yeah, and
I
that's
think
always
why
just
bands go to labels, right? They
There
need
you
them to do
go.
for them.
It's so true, though. It really is so true that, like, because I've always, for me personally, like, we got on a small label at some point, and I hated it. I did not want to be a part of it. It felt like we lost a little bit of control over what we were able to make, and that was a huge bummer for me. But if you can find a label that's not going to control your sound, and is going to let you be you, I would do that in a heartbeat, because that middleman part is the part that I absolutely hate doing. So, you guys, Ray, obviously go out of your way to do it yourself. Alan goes out of his way to do it himself.
Definitely.
But if I didn't have an Alan with me right now, like, I never would have reached out to anybody to try to get like interviews or anything like that. So I totally respect people that actually have the the ability to do that and put themselves out there.
Well, that's why I think you need a good, diverse cast, I guess you could say, like in a band or a project, where people are just really good at certain things, but different areas. Because, as I got older, I had to realize, like, hey, not everyone has that. Like you just mentioned, you had a crippling thing when it came up to rejection. Where me, it's like, fucking, I'm gonna ask everybody. You know what I mean? I was gonna keep going at where for me it's not so much. But then there's strengths in other areas that you need in a band, that just help lift the load, because there's some things of like, the creative process that I despise, doing like, my favorite part is reaching out to people. That's always been my favorite thing to do. And, it's good to have that mix of people, I think, that bring it, that can bring it all together and just push it out. So,
yeah, definitely. And that's why I'm very thankful for, well, at least, I'm glad that I was able to message people. Did I message you?
I'm trying to remember. Or, that's what I'm thinking about too. I'm like, I don't remember how that happened. I don't know. No, I think we reached out to you guys. We had a person that was a fan of the channel that had mentioned you guys or liked you guys, and then they sent you a message about coming on or something. It was something like that, I believe.
Maybe, yeah.
I don't know if Teresa did that or not. Teresa,
it might have been Teresa.
Used to do that. She used to reach out to people for us.
Awesome. Go Teresa. Still around. Still doing our bidding for us.
She's awesome. But yeah, I really think that in this age, like, anybody can do it. Right?
Yeah.
You just gotta do it. I don't think we're not legendary like Linkin Park, or we're not like Hanabiye. We're not One Ok Rock.
Yeah.
Thank you. But it's the drive, I think, is what really attracts labels too. Because I think, having met a lot of label people, they always say, it's fun to know that these artists have talent, but can they work? Yeah. Some labels also are like, can we mold them? Can we control them? And those are the labels you don't want to be in.
Yeah.
Those are the worst ones, because then you're kind of like selling what you care about. For
some bands are okay with it. Some bands are okay with it though. Some of them, they're like, yes, please control everything. We'll do whatever you say. As long as we make a living off it, I don't care. Yeah. There is some people that are like that. They just don't care. They're like, I'll just show up and play. You guys do everything else.
I got to say, like, and this is something I never would have thought about when I was like younger, but because like the idea of like selling your music, or like selling the creativity aspect of your music for money was always like something that I would never want to be a part of, or so I thought. But then you realize, like, as you get older, at least I realized as I got older, that if the options are to play music, even if it's not the music that you want to play, versus having a job that is not in the musical world, I think I'd still
Mhm.
choose to play music, even though it's not the music that I wanted to play. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Like it no longer like I at 16, I would have been like, oh, fucking sellouts, you know. But now I'm like, no, dude, they just want to play music and they want to make money from it. So I'm,
Right.
you know, totally on board, whatever.
That's true. Yeah. So more power to them, like those who are okay with playing any kind of music.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right. But I think
Mhm.
as we got older, because When I Close isn't exactly a young band, you
Mhm.
know,
Yeah.
like we have more, uh, our tastes have pretty much settled.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I think that's why we are more attracted to labels that will let us be ourselves. And
Totally.
yeah, and we've definitely met up with a lot of labels who wanted to sign us, but they were like, you know, they're a little afraid to sign us because they know that we know what we want. Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah, and that we can read contracts. And
Yeah, some of them really love the people that are just gonna be like, okay, yeah, well, like, I just want this, you know, like no matter what, I
That's
just want
wild.
to be
Yeah.
on your label regardless, right? No,
yeah, no, you got to fight for it, you know.
hmm I wish I knew that back when I was like, you know, a little younger, where it's like you can't just, you know, I feel like we kind of knew. We kind of knew that like we weren't supposed to just sign with anybody, but I also think that like the first time that label approaches you as like a new band and is like, hey, we
Mhm.
want to sign you, you're just like over the fucking moon, you know. Like
Yeah.
I didn't even care who it was. I was like, whoa, an actual label wants my band on it. Okay, I'm in. You know, you don't have to give me any money. Just let me be part of it.
Just being part of it, being part of those, like the Rushmore of
Yeah.
Exactly,
signed
right?
bands.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
And then I was just reading here. Teresa was the one that reached out to you, man. Yeah, that's what it was.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Teresa.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
With the label, like managers stuff too, those contracts are the same way. Though they can swindle a lot out of you. I've signed some manager contracts where like it's crazy, where you have to pay to get out of the contract and stuff like that,
Yeah.
or like
wow.
you have to continue to pay the rest of the month's fees. I remember when we did get on a management team, and I immediately got out of it because I was like, this is what I thought management meant was not what it actually was. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And because like I said, they're just your key into the door, and that's it.
Mhm.
But they're not actually managing you guys, the band
Yeah.
itself. You know. So we've had two.
Mhm.
I was in a band called Scorachofito where we actually had a manager that would do that, go on tour with us, actually managed all the stuff, and and he did it for nothing because he was like he just believed in the band's potential and stuff like that. But
Right.
it's a big distinction between managers though, because like when you get on a management team, it doesn't necessarily mean they're managing your day to day and stuff like that. It's just a key
No.
in. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's why anybody can do it now.
Yeah.
Just a DM, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
That's true.
Yep.
And it's helped a lot that like I don't know, like just like YouTube in general and stuff like that, where you can actually put yourself out there, where you don't
Mhm.
necessarily need somebody to put you out there. You could get lucky, have that YouTube algorithm hit hard, you know, and then like suddenly 100,000 people know who you are just because it happens. But like that's another thing where it's just like you just got to try, right? Like I think a lot of
Yeah.
people, you know, they might have something they don't want to put it on YouTube right away or something because they're scared that people won't like it or won't do well and it'll make them look bad. But at the end of the day, you know, you just do it and hope. You know,
Yeah.
cross your
Yeah.
fingers.
It's the
Hard
leap of
Hard
faith.
Bros, our channel member wants to know, what is your Mount Rushmore of J rock or J metal bands now?
Wow.
Can
Like-
you come up with a top 4?
Top 4. Oh, dude, that is hard. Like now.
Yeah. When I Close, one of them.
I'm very much old school. You know,
Okay.
I love like I remember Champ saying this when I was watching one of your guys's lives or podcasts, and I remember Champ said that the great thing about J-Rock is that if it's good songwriting, you can feel it without understanding the language.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And these bands that are in my top 4, before I learned Japanese, were like that. And the first one is Asian Kung Fu Generation.
Mm.
Yeah,
Interesting.
That hits hard. That really hits hard for me. It's just everything is so good. Like not just the vocals and not just the lyrics, but every placement of instruments had a meaning to the song.
Mm-hmm.
And I love bands that really think about that. You know, it's not really the technicality, is it? It's the right timing of the right melody, the right notes. Yeah, and I think Asian Kung Fu Generation, especially their older works, was like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Second one, Ellie Garden.
Yep. Heard of them? Have I heard? I think I might have heard some one.
I don't think I've heard of that one.
I thought that was cool because I think the vocalist did stay a bit in Oakland in California, and so he sang a lot in English, and they're also a very melodic band, and it's one of those things where just the instrumentals really hit you in the heart, you know.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
They
just dropped a new song 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I remember talking about them when I was first trying to do this whole like Japanese news thing a long time ago when we were first starting it. Before the Gaijin guys, I remember reading about them. I think I might have checked out all the songs. I just can't remember.
Mm-hmm.
They've been around for a while, it looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the legends.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
How long have they been around for?
God.
1998 to 2008, but they just started back up again in 2018. Wow.
Yeah, it was a surprise show, and I was lucky to be in it.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, it was great.
Very cool.
Definitely. Ellie Garden is up there. It's so hard to come up with a top four, you know. Top three, number three, maybe a Japanese band called Straightener. Like a hair straightener.
Wow. That one I definitely
also
heard.
Indie rock band. So this might shock people because I play in a band that doesn't sound anything like this, you know. But I don't sing with so much power, and I think that's because I like bands like this who are more soft in vocals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Straight.
Yeah, I have noticed that there's a commonality between the three that you just mentioned, where it's very like, they all sort of have soft, clean vocals.
Yeah. And God, the last one, this is so hard. Overworld, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. And I layer a lot of vocals in When I Close, and I learned that from Overworld.
Oh,
nice.
And the whole singing and rapping, you know, with just one vocalist doing both.
Mm-hmm.
I got that from Overworld a lot.
Mm-hmm. And if you ever throw a saxophone into your music, we'll know why.
We really want to, actually.
I mean, it always sounds cool, and it's not used enough. So I support your decision on that if you go forward.
I can actually play the alto saxophone.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So there you go. You just
high school.
You just put the mic down for a second, pick the saxophone up, you know, and you can put the melody right on there.
That'd be sick.
There you go.
That would be cool.
So you have another project you're doing also?
Me?
Yeah. Is that what you're saying?
Well, what do you mean?
Sorry. You said you were doing another band. Oh.
Like it would be cool if we could also add saxophones.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like When I Close is a really weird band, you know? Like and I think there's a lot of weird bands too, so it's not that weird.
I think if When I Closed was working out of America, people would be like, that band is pretty fucking weird. But I think coming out of Japan, it's almost like, you know, okay. You know, we get it.
This is normal.
It's not, it's different than other things that we hear, but it's not weird, you know, because there's so much over there that's just like so different than, at least than the stuff that we. When did you, by the way, move over to Japan?
About 6 years ago.
6 years ago. Okay.
Mhm.
So you had like a whole life of like, you know, how the American scene was before you actually moved over there.
Yeah. The reason really why I really like J-rock is that I didn't really see much Asian people in America in the rock scene, except Mike
Like none
Shinoda.
almost. Oh, that's true.
That's
Yeah,
kind of true.
Mike Shinoda and Johan from Linkin Park, and that's why I really like them. Now, of
Mm.
course, I love their music, but just seeing an Asian person, you know, was new for me. And my cousin, who was living in Japan already, introduced me to Asian Kung Fu Generation. And I was like, you know,
Mm.
there's a whole new world where there are a lot of Asians playing rock music, you
Yeah.
know, and that's how I got introduced to J-rock, and that's what really drew me into Japan. Not so much on the anime side or game side. It's just like, wow, people like me are rocking out.
Yeah. It's important to be able to see that, man. Like, I mean,
Mhm.
I feel like I take for granted the fact that like everyone that I see pretty much looks like me. You know what I mean? And I'm just, you know, if that wasn't the case, I think like the way that I would view it would be so different also, that in that I would also be craving that, you know, like
Mhm.
like why aren't people that are like me or look like me or whatever, you know, doing the things that I love? It's like, oh, they're just over there. We got to go over there to find it.
Yeah, and
a good
thankfully
point.
now it's changing a lot,
Yeah.
you know.
Oh, with everything
Mm.
that's going on over there, man, like it's definitely changing a significant amount. But I trying to think of like, and it's funny because like they're like light years ahead too in Japan with music when it comes to the
Really?
writing and stuff. I think like when it comes to
I think
complexity,
so too.
yeah, with
You know, it's
complexity and
funny
stuff.
because they think the opposite here with the
Yeah.
producers and the musicians we talk to, and I also think like you, right? Because I
Yeah.
came from America, and the Japanese musicians around me said like, oh, Japan is stuck in the 2000s.
I would almost, I
Interesting.
kind of agree with that in a sense because they're still playing those genres a lot. Where
Yeah.
here it's
Mhm.
not being played, but they're playing those genres exceptionally well. Maybe,
Agreed.
you know, like they definitely took inspiration from like those genres I hear in the US, but they just do it on a whole other level. Like, that's
Mhm.
much cleaner, much in your, and maybe even more originality. Because I remember like let's going back to new metal or metalcore. All the metalcore bands in the U.S. were very similar sounding. They started copying, cutting. Where like you hear a
Mhm.
metalcore band in Japan, they take the idea but like flip it, you know, if that makes
Mhm.
sense. And
I agree too.
like recreating the genre in a different way or actually putting a twist on it. Not every band. There is some bands in Japan that I've heard. I'm like, this kind of sounds like, you know, that, you know.
I've already heard this before.
Yeah, exactly. They're not everyone, but there's those bands out there that really do flip on it. You know, I guess
Yeah.
because you can think about like Bandmate too, like with hard rock in general, like that progressive
Yeah.
hard rock sound. That's a completely flipping it on its head, like taking hard rock and nobody really recreated that hard rock sound. The only thing I could think of is like those grunge bands, like those were the ones that really stood out and really had another twist on hard rock. And then now you have Bandmate now that does a whole new twist on hard rock.
Yeah.
Dillinger Escape Plan was kind of leading towards that in the U.S., but then they went right back to their screaming metalcore stuff after that, which is, but so
I
that's
think you
why
can see the same thing
cool.
happening in Korea too.
Yeah.
Like musically, where it's like I feel like exactly what both of you guys just said applies to the K-pop world also, where it's like it does feel like it's ahead of the game, like compared to the American pop scene, for example. It is so much better. The production is so much better. They put so much more creativity into the actual pop songs over there in comparison to here. It's not even close, but they're also playing a lot of music that sounds like it came out of like 2007 American pop. It's just really, really good 2007 American pop. And honestly, I'm cool with that. Like if they want to go back a few years, few decades, whatever, and like take those genres, that sound of music, but like improve upon it, make it what it should have been at that time, 100% on board. I think that's an awesome way to do things.
I think people. Somebody mentioned there are more aging metal fans than younger ones, but what I'm noticing, like, and this just from hearing what my son listens to, um, he's been listening to metal lately, and I'm kind of was thinking about this. I was like, maybe it's just because hip hop and pop is so there now. The kids that are coming up might actually start reversing and might start going through this cycle because they might be like, there's going to be those kids that are like, everybody's listening to this, let me go listen to metal, where like that could become a cool thing again, which is kind of wild because I noticed the other day he's listening to some heavier like rap beats and stuff, but then metal guitars, like more like, you know, probably like towards that new metal style, but it's not that though, it's something else, you know. And I was like, that's interesting because I don't know if it has a lot to do with the internet and you can get access to a lot of variety of music, you're not stuck to the radio, but some of the
youth are like that though in Japan too. Like if you go to Shibuya, if you go to the metalcore shows, there's a lot of young people there.
That's great to hear, honestly.
Yeah, and they're all like university or high schoolers, and they're all, you know, wearing the chains, the black shirts, you know, the long hair, and it's cool. I think like they're keeping it alive. And what I always thought was interesting in especially in Shibuya area, everybody likes everything. You know, like they love the dark music, but then they also love hip hop, and I think that's why a lot of bands from Shibuya end up mixing those sounds. And
which I think is cool because I've been a fan of all those genres also, you know. And I think that's particularly why One Eye Closed did stand out, because we were mixing these genres. And as a native speaker in English, though, I felt that was a little bit of a positive stereotyping towards me. I also felt like it was cheating. It's a weird thing because I'm American, you know, so a lot of bands and a lot of fans, a lot of people come to shows. I don't know if it's like of course I take it as a compliment, but it is weird because they'll come up to me and be like, "Oh, you're a real American," you know. And that's why your music is good. Oh shit!
I don't think they mean it that way.
No,
but that's
probably not.
It's just so wild that they feel like that over there. Like, but that's from the fan perspective, or like this is other musicians saying this to you.
A little bit of both.
A little bit of both.
I don't think they mean it that way. I think what they meant is that it's a good advantage to have a native speaker.
Okay, yeah.
To do this, but it does come out weird, you know.
Yeah, it is true. It could help. I think knowing multiple languages in any case is all really helpful. Like here in the U.S., knowing Spanish is very, very important. Yeah. if you leave, I mean, if you go out of your area, you know, like Spanish is a language you gotta kind of know here now. It's starting to become that way, you know. So
you know, but the interesting thing is that Japanese education is getting a lot better, and I actually teach as a teacher on the side as my main day job, and there are a lot more young kids speaking close to fluent English. And what I think you guys will notice maybe in 5 to 10 years that the whole Japlish J-rock singing might disappear soon. And it might be more Japanese with a lot more fluent sounding English.
Interesting.
Yeah. And
so do you teach like that. Do you teach English? Is that what you're teaching over there?
Yes.
Okay.
And I think you guys might notice that I can't pull out examples right now, but there are a lot more native sounding Japanese singers. And
well, I could say, see, I don't know, Taka from 1OK Rock. I don't know if he's from Japan or not, but he's definitely sounds okay. So he sounds completely native to me. Like when he sings, like I think he just sounds like he fucking grew up in New Jersey.
I met him actually, not when I was in One Eye Closed, but He toured in my area before 1OK Rock was big in America. So I was able to just chat with him, and he was wearing his PJs outside the tour bus. And I asked him like, "Hey, how did you learn English?" And he said, "I don't go to schools. I just talk to people." Yeah, and he's just naturally smart.
It feels like that's what everybody that is able to learn another language always, kind of says. It's like, no, I just kept communicating with people in that language until I got it right.
Yeah,
I gotta tell you that does not work for me. I've tried. I don't understand anything that anybody is ever saying, no matter how much studying or talking I do in it. But that does seem like the way that the way that it works best.
Part of studying language, you have to be speaking it with like either natives and stuff like that. They always say you have to do that because you can sit there and learn all day. I know people that will learn a language for like 3 years and still can't hold a conversation. Because they never practice with actual people. Yeah, I mean, us going to high school, you remember that, champ? You like learned. I remember I was learning French. I barely remember anything. So.
Bro, 12 years of Spanish. 12 years of Spanish class, and I mean, I can say hi and goodbye, and I can to be fair, I'm giving myself a little more shit than I should be right now. I can read Spanish pretty well, and I can write in Spanish pretty well.
Good.
I would say 75% fluency. Yeah. But if I hear somebody speak in Spanish, I have no fucking idea what they're saying. It just goes into my head and becomes a big jumbled mess. I don't understand it at all, and I think that is where you need to be able to have that back and forth conversation with people, because sure, I could read it like a an English speaker would read English words the same way, but I can't when I hear it, it all sounds like just nonsense.
Yeah, and I think that's also the same with Japanese listeners to English music. That's what I really noticed in One Eye Closed to One Eye Closed fans in Japan. They really love the band, but I think most of them don't know what I'm singing about. So but if you look into the outside Japan, there are more comments about these lyrics are kind of dark. And I think, but that's the thing, music, it doesn't matter what language. I think good music is good music, and I hope When I Close is good music too.
I think When I Close is good music.
Yes, it is.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, man. But I don't know where I was going with that.
No, but I do. I totally.
Oh, we were talking about how. Oh, go ahead, Jam. Sorry.
I just wanted to kind of tie a bow on what I was saying before, where it's just I totally agree that I think that the more that. So I think that it's really important to be able to speak the multiple languages, when you're trying to get worldwide distribution, right? And the more that you could do that, the better it is. I don't think it's absolutely necessary all the time, but the more that you can do that, the better chance that you have to do so. But I do find it really funny that a lot of us, us Gaijins over here, right? Us white guys over here in America are when the Japanese bands start singing in English, a lot of people are no, I want my Japanese back.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. Some people get versa.
Pissed. Yeah, that's definitely one obstacle that One Eye Closed is going through. Because I'm American and we sing in English, some people don't consider us as J-rock, which is fine. Which is fine. But I really wanted to sing in Japanese. All of us, that song for No Straight Roads and Low has Japanese versions of them. And
I didn't even see those.
The people here, our main fan base, told me please sing in English. And and even all the other bands, the big bands that we played with, you guys should just MC in English. It's but they won't understand what we're saying. It's it doesn't matter. It's cool.
That's the thing, right? It's cool. It's different. I guess.
Yeah. So it's
That's
like the
so
identity
interesting.
crisis. Like, should I speak in Japanese? Should I speak in English? Should I sing in Japanese? Should I sing in whatever. It's really hard. So I just fuck it. We're just gonna do what we want. And that's where the song All of Us came. If you read the lyrics, it's all about like people telling you what to do.
Mm.
Yeah, people told us to make a pop song. People told us not to make a pop song. People told us to sing in English or Japanese. And so we made a pop song, but ironic. It's an ironic pop song.
Mhm.
The best kind of pop song.
Yeah. Like taking a shit over those labels who told us to do
Yeah.
this. And I don't know if they could understand what we were singing,
But
I think
it's
that you're
like-
gonna get. Go ahead, Alan.
I was gonna say is like honestly, if it just sounds good, it sounds good. It doesn't matter. Somebody in the chat was saying like some people say it's like too Western, I think, or if they use English, and I'm like, whatever. If it sounds good, it sounds good. Like sometimes having a weird pronunciation of English will still sound good in a song. A great example is the singer Dimash. I remember when I first checked him out, we checked out a song and like his English wasn't there yet, but it's called Screaming. It was the first song we heard. And of course, people immediately told us like we shouldn't have checked out that song. But first, they should check out something else. But when we heard it, I'm like, it's actually refreshing to hear it with the accent in English. I was like, it actually sounds pretty good with the song, like the way that was done. So I just go back to like, hey, if it works, it works, Or you could get caught. Or you can get caught up on the accent. There was definitely people in the chat that like got caught up on it. I'm like, I actually enjoy the accent. I don't think I would have enjoyed this pop song if it was straight perfect English, because then it would have taken out the almost creativeness to it. Like I was like, I actually enjoyed it because it's something refreshing to hear instead of your typical, this melody. Here we go. Here comes this pop song again, But it was refreshing to hear Dimash sing it and have that bit of accent on it. But
right.
I also think it just comes. It's like where are you coming from musically, right? Because like okay, just from my personal experience, I'm like okay, so it's cool to hear something in a different language because I've heard a bunch of stuff in English for my whole life, right? And then I heard a bunch of stuff. I got really into the Korean scene and the Japanese scene. I heard a bunch of stuff in those languages, but then when I start hearing stuff now of them doing stuff in English, that now is fresh again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's almost like this cycle because it was like it was fresh to hear the new language. Now it's fresh to hear English from people that were speaking that language. So I just think it's cool. Just like, I'm always just on board with like whatever the band wants to do.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been bothered by like a language barrier or anything like that. I mean, I grew up on like, like screaming and death metal and stuff like that,
same.
So I couldn't understand what the fuck they were saying anyway, man.
Oh, that's
like,
hilarious.
That
that's hilarious when metal singers tell me like, oh, it's just I don't like it because I can't understand the lyrics. I'm like, bro, no one can understand the lyrics to your songs either.
Seriously.
I love those bands that when you read their lyrics and it's very eloquently written. Is that what they're saying?
Yeah, dude, like those super death metal bands that are just like they're writing poetry, but all you're hearing is
all that remains has a song off this Dark and Hard album where it sounds like he's saying contraceptives, I have no plastics on me, and we thought those were the lyrics at first. We're like, that is fucking hilarious, and then we read it and it was like something completely different. I was like, oh, he wasn't talking about making babies and trying to make sure you're having safe sex.
Champ made a good point though, because I think we grew up with like heavy music. We don't really need to understand the vocals.
Maybe that's why we like Japanese music a lot.
Yeah.
I to be totally honest, I do think it's an easier transition for people like us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think that people that didn't grow up with any music where they grew up with only music that they understood the lyrics to 100% of the time, I think those people are going to struggle way more, going over to a different language. But then I do get annoyed, like with the people, like some of my buddies or whatever, that'll be like, dude, well, you don't even understand what they're saying, dude. Like, why are you listening to this? And I'm like, bro, we were listening to In Flames the other day. Like, this.
Eric said it perfectly. people be like, I don't like metal because I don't understand the lyrics, but their favorite song is a K-pop song completely in Korean.
Yeah, see, that's Korean. The vice versa, right? Like there it goes. It goes both ways.
I actually got a comment once, like in our song "Low," and it's like, oh, this Japanese band, like, I didn't even know they were singing in English. This guy has bad pronunciation. I'm like, yo, I'm a native speaker though. I don't know if they were just saying that just to say something, you know?
Yeah,
get a little rise out of you.
Yeah.
It's like I'm a native speaker.
It's okay, Ray. Sometimes we get called out and say our English is bad ourselves. So I think it's an American thing.
It's the only language we speak.
Americans apparently don't speak their own language well. That's probably where it came from.
Although what I will say, to give ourselves credit a little bit here, we don't get on each other's cases that much for it, because we all know we kind of suck at it a little bit. You know what I mean? So we just accept wholly that we don't. Nobody that speaks English is that great at English. We're missing like half of the language. You know what I mean? We don't use half the words in the language. But I do feel like what Ray was saying earlier. You know, people will get on your case over there if you don't if you're not doing it properly. Oh, you got to practice more.
Yeah, definitely, man.
And then you get that one. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just saying, because I've been here for so long, I'm starting to forget English. And
oh wow.
Yeah.
I've heard that happen. So are you mostly communicating in Japanese then over there?
So well, except for my job, right? To my students, of course I'm speaking English to them. But to my coworkers, some of them don't speak English, so I still have to speak Japanese, you know, in the office. And when I close, luckily, most members can speak English pretty well, you know. But when I talk to people here in my close circle, I have to speak Japanese.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you just learned when you came over, you said, right? Like 6 years ago?
Well, actually, I learned in university.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's also because I was really into J-rock. I really wanted to understand what they were saying.
Isn't it so funny how that happens, man? It's always like a form of entertainment that really makes you want to learn a different language. Like the amount of people that are over here that,
It's the best way, right? I think.
Like it is. Yeah. I really think that it is, especially since you have the ability to like watch things with subtitles on, so that you could like kind of follow along with, you know, mouth movements and stuff like that. I mean, how many people do you think learn Japanese just so they could understand anime? Like, it's probably a pretty strong percentage of the people that learned Japanese that live in America. It's probably a really high percentage that they did it for anime.
Yeah, definitely. I think so too. But I think that's why a lot of people, younger people now here, are learning English because of the media, right? There's a lot more Hollywood movies here. You know, a lot of my students love Ariana Grande, Taylor Swift, and like that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of music. How old are your students, by the way?
I teach a huge range from babies to 70-year-olds, but primarily elementary schoolers.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they're into the American pop scene, huh?
Yeah, they love like Japanese pop too. Like a lot of the kids love Ado, which you guys.
Oh my God, amazing! Fucking amazing singer.
She's amazing.
I'm like obsessed with her voice, man. It's so good.
She is great.
Yeah,
and she's got so much of her career ahead of her. It just blows my mind.
She's only 19, right?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, she's got I think she's the best singer now in the J-pop scene.
I mean,
she is crazy. She's crazy. I haven't heard enough yet to make that complete judgment, but the first few songs I heard from her, I was blown away by her vocals.
I'm close to it, man. I'm close to saying that. Like, still have to put out the reaction to Blacklight
in Shibuya. They have like these trucks that blast music to promote artists, and I never pay attention to them. But then Ado, I never heard of Ado until her truck was going through. I'm like, those are insane vocals.
Right.
Yeah.
The first time that you hear her, you are kind of blown away. It's just like this immediate some vocals take a little while to warm up to, and then you eventually really really like them. I mean, within the first like 15 seconds of hearing backlight is what you were looking for,
Yeah.
Alan. I was just like, holy shit, this person is so good. Oh my god, I can't believe it.
Very.
And then when I found out she was 19, oh, by the way, I forgot to mention this earlier. Alan, you might like this a little bit. The video game that one I closed did those tracks for. They actually at some point you have to fight Hatsune Miku.
Oh,
and turn her into a frog, I believe. I think that's how you defeat her.
What the?
And I laughed when I saw that. I was like, what a this game fucking rules. I haven't even played it, but I need to.
Yeah, Ray, what are your thoughts on Vocaloid? Kind of curious.
You know, it's funny. Our main composer, Non, the guitarist.
Yeah.
The way I found him, he was a Vocaloid producer.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Would you
And
put?
he found my old band.
That's actually really cool. That seems to be happening quite a bit nowadays. The Vocaloid producers are getting out there now into bands, like being a part of bands now instead.
Would you put Vocaloid in a When I Close song?
That'd be cool, to be honest. You know, if
I'm not trying to jeopodize your job here, but
we do it sometimes. If like no one has an idea for a vocal melody, usually I want to do my own parts, right?
Yeah.
But for all of us, I was stuck at the chorus, just that first part of the chorus, and he used Vocaloid. So somewhere in our PC, there's a Vocaloid version of all of us.
That's awesome
wow.
though. So you can get like, I mean, I would love to have that as a singer. You know, I've never been a singer, but I would assume that it would be great to have like another member of your band who like isn't doing vocals, but could produce an idea for vocals via a Vocaloid or something like that. That's got to be like a nice little help.
Because the way that I do it is I do it through lead guitar when I write vocals. I just write it.
Do it too.
Yeah, I just write the vocal melody. I have to do it with the guitar. I can't just sing a melody for some reason. Like not yet. Maybe one day it'll come because I'm still new to it. But I have to do it with a guitar. I have to write a solo for not even solo, just a lead, just a catchy lead, and I'm like, okay, that's the vocal line, and then put words to the actual guitar vocal line that I write. That's how I've written all the vocals for Dichotic songs when I had to.
Eric asked, who do you think is the best Japanese vocalist of all time? I want to hear your guys' answers too.
Of all time?
That's a hard question.
Oh God.
I mean, I feel like I need a list in front of me to choose from.
It's hard.
Yeah.
God. There's a lot.
Chat, what is yours? Vocalists. What is your favorite Japanese vocalist? There's so many good ones, man. Like
I'm actually pulling up a list here just so I have like people to choose from.
I thought of Sue Metal comes up,
Sue Metal was in my mind too, but
and then Lisa. Then you got Lisa also.
Oh, Lisa is one of the first people that I would have thought of too.
Yeah, and then you got Otto now. Fuck.
God, that's a hard one, man.
I mean, and also it's like I don't know if best and like your favorite really would never necessarily like align with each other. You know what
Teresa,
I mean?
I know the end. Oh man, she's really good also.
Oh, dude, Lisa, it's fun because when I watched her during a festival, she would, how do you say, project her vocal warm-ups through the PA.
Oh wow!
She's just going la da 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 da, and it's already amazing, and people are already cheering outside. Just how good it sounds already.
Lisa's really good.
Scales.
She's killing these scales.
Awesome. Lisa made me not like the band Sim, though. I gotta say, I'm pretty disappointed with the band Sim, even though I like their music. It's a joke. It's a joke. You gotta check out the video. I saw a video of Lisa and what's his name? The singer from Sim. Yeah, and it was hilarious. They did some very risky stuff on stage, and I'm like, what?
Yeah. I was there.
Oh, you were there?
I was there. Yeah.
Oh my. Okay, tell me about that. What were you? Because I was pissed when I watched that video clip. I was like, I'm so jealous, and I saw the singer
jealous.
pissed.
I was jealous. I was jealous.
You was jealous.
Like I went with my friend, and we have an inside joke that Lisa's our waifu. You know?
Oh, just for context, guys. So the video we're talking about, Ma from Sim is singing, and she's putting herself in particular positions up against Ma during the video. Where
they beat like back to back, right?
Yeah, but then she gets on her knees and So just to give you context, champ, of how provocative this video is.
I feel like I missed something.
Oh, you did. You're
gonna have to send me the link.
Yeah,
later on, Alan.
Yeah, I know it's funny because like I think we did that reaction a couple months ago, but yeah, I'll send you the link. And I was like, I'm so jealous of Ma from Sim, and it's funny because you catch the guitarist looking at them as it's going down. And the guitarist is like, I'm fucking pissed that this is happening too.
They're all jealous.
They're all jealous.
God damn it.
But anyways, continue and tell your story. I just want to give that context for anybody listening.
You know, when they collaborated, I thought it was awesome. But then like when they started doing that, me and my friend were like, God damn it.
Totally get it. Totally get it.
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out to two.
We got
actually three of them, three Japanese vocalists that I've found within the last 2 years that I really think are amazing. Eme, which I called Amer for 2 years.
Eme, yeah.
I've done a lot of reactions to her over on my Patreon. Unfortunately, they all get blocked on YouTube, so you can't really post her reactions to her stuff. But like I've done a lot to her, and she's really, really good. I think she's fucking one of the best. Malay is also just absolutely awesome, right? Like she's so good, dude. She's got so much character and charisma in her voice. And then somebody else mentioned Utada Karu, yes, who I've only listened to one song from, but was immediately impressed by.
Dang, yeah. I might have to go with Malay too.
Right? It isn't. I've never. Not a lot of people have mentioned her over on my channel or that I've seen much from. But like, damn! Every time I've heard her, she's so good. Super underrated.
So this is the video I was talking about. So what is Lisa doing to Ma from Sim? Is the name of the video. But going back to that concert, so you guys were there, and was it expected? Was Sim playing that night, or what bands were playing when you were at that show?
Well, you know what? Now that you pulled up the video, I think it's a different video, but they do it a lot.
They do it a lot. Yeah. So it happens more than once.
It happens more than once. I saw them at Dead Pop Festival, and it happens during the summer, so there's more skin contact too.
Oh wow!
It's hot. Yeah.
God damn.
Okay, so as somebody that hasn't seen this, this is like bringing me to places that I feel like my brain shouldn't be thinking about right now.
See, this is where the guitarist we caught his face. We caught him right here in this reaction. We're like, the guitarist is pissed, a little salty right there.
No, they do it a lot. Like, yes, like Ma would be in the monitors going like this, and then Lisa would be like laying on him and singing together. Yeah. And just me and my friend were like, God damn it. I wish that was us.
Destroying.
You just gotta put on a Ma mask and push him off the stage real quick before the show starts.
There you
go. I can't believe I didn't mention this. Mayu from Nemophila. She's like my favorite vocalist right now. I gotta give her credit.
I love her growls.
Oh, she's like my favorite right now. So no, I don't know if I can put her at all time yet, but like from what I've been listening to currently, modernly, she's in my top like 3.
That's a good one. It's hard to choose, you know. That's a hard question.
It is. Mirai wants to ask you, Ray, what your favorite Japanese female band is, if you got one.
Ooh. Hanabie right now.
Ooh, I like that answer.
Hell yeah.
That's a good answer.
I just love like how crazy they are.
Same. They remind me of the type of band that like I would have been searching for like 15 years ago, like in America, I would have been like, damn, I need to find a
Mhm.
band that is exactly what Hanabiye is. And I didn't
Mhm.
find it because it didn't exist over here. And now I'm finding it 15 years later, and I'm like, yes, finally, it
Yeah.
happened.
Amazing.
Heck yeah. They want to know, Marks was asking if there's any way to find out news and info when I close. It's on JPU Records mainly, but do you have like any other sites and stuff too,
Mhm.
or is it just mainly JPU?
We release more on our Twitter account
Okay.
at One Eye Closed JP.
Okay.
And it's mostly in Japanese, but there's a C translation button, right? So you guys can.
Yeah. And that link that's popping up is their last album that's coming out, but you guys are planning on releasing something soon, right? Or
Yeah, to be honest, we are working on a new album that we want to release next year.
Mhm.
And no promises yet, but we really want to release it next year and then do a Japan tour with some friend bands. And if a lot of people support us, like buying the albums and liking and commenting on our stuff and following us on social media, we really want to do like a US tour. And I think if we have proof, I think we will have more confidence to go to America.
Yeah, I hear you. I definitely feel that.
Mhm.
I also want to
How
mention, guys,
much-
if you're not on Twitter or anything like that, but you still want to follow when I close, like, and what they're posting and stuff like that, we do have a section in our Guys and Guys Discord for When I Closed where we post it automatically posts all their tweets there too.
Thank
So
you.
it can take you over there.
do they give you a threshold of what you have to reach before going on tour like that? They give you any marks and stuff they have to reach, or is it kind of just
It's really on us, but it'll suck if there's a big net loss,
Yeah.
Of
Mhm.
course. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
And I think
yeah.
that's why a lot of Japanese bands don't tour, because there's not enough proof. There's a lot of fans out there who are not actively participating in with the artists, and that's a big reason why a lot of them don't come over. Like One OK Rock, they have a lot of foreign participation, right?
Yeah.
Outside of Japan, so they'll tour everywhere.
Yeah,
And,
gotcha.
Nemophila too, right? And Bandmade,
Yeah.
they've got those. They've got the proof. If you just click on any YouTube video,
Yeah.
the proof is there, right?
Yeah.
So I think if that's my advice to any listener, and that's what I do too as a listener, is I'll comment a lot in English just to like push the idea that, hey, it's okay to tour here.
That's a good point. That's a really good point, man. Never thought about
Mhm.
that. So go comment on One Eye Closed videos in English.
Yes. And
I'll
that's
Get
the
the-
thing too with our Japanese fans, because they're shy, because it's on JPU Records, right?
Mhm.
And we hear stuff like, "Oh, I'm a little bit shy to comment in Japanese," but we need those comments to show proof, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
It does
And-
feel like you have to work a little bit against the grain, huh?
Yeah, Japan is like that though, because they're quite a reserved culture. And I remember just in our few shows when we were first starting out, everybody would be standing with their arms crossed in the show and not coming to the front when we were playing, right?
Mhm.
There's a huge gap. But then at the end, they're all like, "Man, that was awesome."
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to win them
It is
over,
awesome.
right?
Yeah, so please, all the people out there, comment so we can go to America.
Now say that in Japanese so the Japanese listeners actually go do it in Japanese.
That's true. I think some of my fans have retweeted this. I don't know if they're here because I don't see any comments. I'll just speak Japanese right now. で、なんか日本人のファンがいたらぜひなんか日本語でコメントしてくださいね。
There we go. Get the message out to as many people as we can, right?
Yes. YouTube でもぜひコメントしてください。
Heck yeah, man.
And I'll say something in Japanese too for you guys. if that's okay.
Yeah, go for it, man.
Oh no.
Right. で、
I'll just
大
be-
コデックっていうバンドがいて、あと、もちろん、外人ガイズっていうチャンネルも、ぜひ応援してください。チャンプさんとアランさんがすごいいい人だし、みんなも応援してほしいな。だから、When I Close も応援して、外人ガイズも応援してくださいね。Show some love. 愛を見せてください。
Hell yeah, baby.
Subscribe.
I don't know what he said, but it sounded good to me.
I said, like, you guys are really nice guys, genuinely nice guys. So if you're supporting When I Close, I'd like you to support them, you guys too.
Yeah.
Guys, Champ and Alan and Daikodek.
And we have
Appreciate it,
some
my man.
other secret collabs in the future, so keep tuned, guys. Some good stuff.
It's
Uh,
true.
yeah.
Is there anything else you want to say before we wrap up, man?
Yeah. So please follow us on social media, and please really try to interact with us as much as possible, because that'll really help the algorithm.
Mhm.
And
Engagement is key, everybody. Like, the more comments that people get, the more we get to get this stuff out there. And just keep the engagement going. If you guys ever have anything to say to any of us, to Ray, When I Closed, or the guys and guys for that matter, just say it, man. We're here to listen.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And we have a new song. We haven't announced it yet, but I think it's okay. Fuck it, I'm gonna announce it.
Guys and Guys
Yes.
exclusive right
Yes.
here.
So we're gonna release a song called Real Intent, featuring Tita from Back On. And this song is to all the homies and families in America and the fans who are supporting us from far away. The song is for you
Yes.
guys.
I love
yeah.
it.
Awesome.
So
That's so cool.
all us Gaijins over here, it's time to pay attention, perk up. We're gonna song for us.
A group reaction to the new song when it comes out.
Hell yeah, that's
Whenever it
awesome.
comes out.
And yeah, I was just looking at some of these songs that Back On has, man, and like they've done well for themselves. Back On. So.
I know. I'm gonna have to check out some of them.
Yeah, me too. Excited to hear Tita come over.
All right, guys. Well, you guys have a good one. Thank you guys for joining. Of course, if you want to support Ray further and When I Close, that link was popping up. I hope it's still there. I'll drop it one more time and I'll pin it in the comments. But go check out his album. Like I was saying, it'll help support their new album that they're trying to get released next year. So make sure you go check it out. Link. Follow them on Twitter. Watch
And their music
videos
videos on YouTube are under JPU's channel
Yes.
and their own channel also, right?
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Please,
Cool.
thank you.
So check out both of those.
I'm looking forward to having you on again, man.
Yeah, man.
Get
Soon, right?
hell yeah.
Cool.
When this new
All right.
new thing comes out, this new album,
Yes, we have a thing coming out, right?
a thing.
Yeah.
They have
And
a thing coming
get
out.
that we'll get that thing up here too.
We're not sure if it's
the
music
thing
or
up everywhere.
hentai, but we'll let you know.
That's the surprise.
All right,
We don't know.
See you guys later. See you.
Peace.
Thank you, everyone.